Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is truly living out his rock and roll dreams. You may know him from his stint on American Idol, and he's now filling in for CJ Snare and the band FireHouse as they play stages across the US. I had the pleasure of seeing him and was just blown away. I knew I had to have him on here to tell his story. Please welcome Nate Peck. Welcome, Nate.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great. It's good to have you. And so let's start at the beginning. You fronted a band in Michigan and ended up auditioning for American Idol. How did the
That's right.
audition come about?
Um, so I was in contact with a uh what are they called? Like a talent manager type person um from the LA area. And he said, "Hey man, would you be interested in maybe doing American Idol?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd love that." And I kind of squeezed through the backdoor process of the audition and and that's how that happened. Yeah.
Mhm. And in your audition, you did Lightning Strikes Again from Dawkins' Under Lock and Key record.
Yep.
Of all the songs, how'd you pick that one? I mean, it wasn't a huge hit for them. So what led to that song?
True. So I had three songs picked out. I had um what song was it? It was Foreigners. I want to know what love is.
Mm,
One of them was the Dawkins song, and the other one
mm,
was Aerosmith. Man, I don't know the song. It's not coming to the top of my head, but it was an Aerosmith
yeah.
song. But the producers, we're going through the three songs, and they're like, which one would blow away the
Mm,
judges and really get their attention. They're like, we got to do the Dawkins song because kind of shows the range, the
yeah.
high pitched notes, and so they went with that one.
And now, I mean, you're still a kid. What led to your interest in 80s rock?
Yeah, good question. So I grew up in a musical family. You know, Early on there was always music, playing in my house, that's just like Ambrosia, Styx, Boston, Crocus, Journey. Um, so there was that musical influence. I'd have to give my mom credit for sure for the heavier stuff, like Dokken, Scorpions. So yeah, the credit's gonna have to go to her on that one.
That's how it starts. We all kind of form with what we heard our parents playing and then find our own things. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And now, unfortunately, your Idol stint was kind of short-lived. You made it to Hollywood, but what happened from there?
Um, so at Hollywood Week, I left the show. Fast forward a few months later, I moved to Nashville
Mhm.
with a bunch of American Idol friends. That year was really special. The amount of kinship and friendship we had on that show with the other contestants, we kind of all uh, migrated to one part of Nashville, so we all got together. We did some shows around Broadway, and um, yeah. So and then yeah.
Now, rockers don't always fare well on American Idol, but tend to find success after. James Durbin, I've had the pleasure of interviewing him a bunch of times for different projects. He's an amazing guy and a definite success story from there.
Yeah.
For you, didn't take all that long from the time of Idol to filling in for CJ with Firehouse. How did that opportunity come up?
Yeah, so before Firehouse, I was doing I was a guest singer with Jack Russell's Great White. Me and Jack are really close, love him.
It's a great guy.
Um yeah, it's a great guy. I would come out and guest sing on a song called, I'm sure you're familiar with it, Save Your Love, which is
Mhm,
one of the biggest ballads, right? So I'd go out and sing with him, and their guitarist Robbie Lochner
mhm.
is good friends with Bill Leverty of Firehouse. And I got a call one day from Robbie, and he's like, "Hey, man, Firehouse is looking for a fill-in singer while CJ's undergoing surgery. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Well, hell yeah, I'd be interested." All excited. So I went out to my car, and I did two songs, and I did "Love of a Lifetime" and "All She Wrote." And I sent those to Robbie. He sent those to Bill. Next morning, I get a call from Bill. He's like, "Hey man, love your voice, love what you did. Saw your American Idol audition. It was great." He goes, "Would you be interested in filling in for us for a little while?" And I said, "I'd love to." And before you know it, I had a flight out to Norwalk, Connecticut, and that's where it began.
Yeah. And now, being a big fan of that genre of music, were you already familiar, especially with that first Firehouse record? I mean, it's kind of a classic, or was there a learning curve to some of the songs?
Yeah, so the only song I was familiar with was Love of a Lifetime. Everybody knows that one. But I had to learn 14 songs in roughly like 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So I just played them over and over and over again until they were implanted in my head and went out and did the show.
When you guys first took the stage, you're playing, you got the band behind you, the fans are in front. Were you able to enjoy the moment, or were the nerves kicking in?
Oh, the nerves were definitely there for sure. It was pretty, I would say it's a little bit of an uncomfortable situation because you're not, the original lead singer, and seeing that response from the crowd, and are they gonna? You're getting in your head a little bit on stage. Are they gonna, they liking this? Are they digging it? But I saw some smiles and some, all right, he can do it, and that kind of that helped a lot. But there were definitely some nerves there for sure.
Well, that's why a lot of bands, especially from that era, kind of cycle through members and singers. But it always seems like the biggest pushback comes when you replace that singer, that front man for any length of time. It seems like the reaction to your performance has been really good. I said the show I was at, I mean, the crowd was into it. They were loving what you were doing up there. What have you seen as the fan reaction to your performance?
Um, it's a good question.
Mm.
Um, I think when I first let out those high notes is when people are like, "Oh wow." Um, Sometimes I think I'm a female when I hit those notes for a second, but um, it takes a few songs, probably the third song, and people are like, "Okay, he can do this." Um, but I think they're shocked. Yeah, I think they're shocked. Yeah,
Just speaking for myself, I'm always one to kind of give the band the benefit of the doubt. I've never been one of those guys where, if it's not Steve Perry, it's not Journey, because, love Jeff Scott Soto, love Steve Augeri, seen Arnell 100 times. I think as long as you pay respect to the music and the song, that's what's important. And
yeah,
it felt watching you that you take it pretty seriously. You're not up there just, okay, I'm blowing through this. How much work did you put into making those songs yours, but still being true to them?
yeah. As out of all the things I sing, I make sure to keep it as authentic as what you hear when you first hear it, like on the studio album. I'll try to, like, any little vocal trill or um, phrasing, I try to keep it exactly the same because that's what everybody knows from listening to the stuff. But I try to keep it pretty close to the original. Yeah, with throwing in a couple high notes or something. That's not in the song, but you know,
Or
yeah,
just fun to do?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, when
yeah,
I caught you at Mohegan Sun, you had mentioned that this was your first arena show with the band, and honestly,
yeah,
the place was pretty packed. They had us photographing front of house. We weren't right up in a pit like we usually are, so we could kind of see the whole place.
yeah.
What was it like for you to see that many people, and especially after you got a couple songs into it? They were into it. They were buying what you were selling up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have to say, playing in front of that many people is easier than playing in like a small club or a theater scenario because everybody's kind of right up in your face, right? But all you can see is, because the lights are dimmed and you can only see like the first 5 to 10 rows, but the rest is just pure blackness. So um, but you can hear it, right? Um, but it was pretty surreal. Yeah, it was scary. Yeah.
And now he had mentioned you're filling in for CJ. He had some health issues and some surgery. Do you know how long this will be going on? Is there kind of an end date? Is it more open-ended? Do you know what you're working with yet?
Yeah, so we're waiting for CJ to get better, and he should be back very soon. But for the meantime, I'm just doing a few handful of shows left, and that should be it. Yeah.
And while you're going through this experience, are you a writer? Do you do any writing? Are you prepping for either a solo record or to do something with the band? Any thoughts on what's coming up?
Yeah, I'd like to branch out and try to find my own sound and get a bunch of great musicians together and see what kind of chemistry or what we could put out, a possibility of that in the future maybe. But I'd like to explore that avenue. That would be cool.
And would you be more interested kind of in doing a solo project where you just kind of bring a group of guys around you, or are you looking for that, the kind of the camaraderie of a band thing?
I'd have to say both. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
looking for both. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, it's definitely out there. We've been spending some time here with Nate Peck. He's filling in for CJ Snare at FireHouse. It said got a few shows coming up still. And Nate, thanks for taking some time to do this. Like I
Of
said,
course.
man, I've seen a lot of bands, and it was funny. Right before you guys came into that arena, like a week before, there was a show with a bunch of '80s bands, and a lot of them have maybe one member, or, that kind of thing. And the show you guys put on, the band behind you, your voice was probably stronger than anything I've seen in a long time from that era of bands. So I definitely recommend people to get out there and check you guys out.
I appreciate it.
Nate, thanks a lot. Best of luck. And we will definitely have to do this again when the next opportunity comes up, and keep at it.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yep.